Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hoppets. Today looking at some macro beer. The macro dudes in Denmark put out new stuff. I gotta try it. So let's go. This is from Carlsberg and this is their newest effort in a product that's most likely going to fail category. No, I'm not gonna be too mean from the get-go, but Carlsberg has launched so many weird variations on Tuborg and Carlsberg over the years. And the only ones that really have stuck permanently is the regular beers, of course, but also the seasonal variants, like the Easter beer or the Christmas beers. There's been so many, and then I think also the light. They've had a couple of introduction. The Nordics, the alcohol-free ones, are also still around, even though they don't have much to do with the original Carlsberg. But like the spin-offs on their main brand, Tuborg and Carlsberg's, where it's a spin-off on the Pilsner, a lot of them have never really stood the test of time. And it's interesting. There's been all this, stuff going on and trying to become hip and modern from a lot of these breweries. One of the ones that really outdid themselves with this in a bad way was Royal Unibrew when they tried to do their clone of Carlsberg's Kronenbourg Blanc, which is one of the most famous beers in Denmark at the moment. It's everywhere. That's a big hit for Carlsberg. They tried to imitate it with something Rift? No, I don't even remember the name. It's just a ripoff, and they were terrible. I reviewed them and I hated them. There we go. Piefed. Yeah. Are they still around? I don't know. I haven't seen them, but they were really trying with these. They were flavored wheat beer type things. I gave one of them a 15. Oh gosh. So it's fun when some of these microbreweries try to do all these things and fumble around a bit with making something new and trying to do something hip and cool. And sometimes they nail it. And Carlsberg did with Blanc. Kronenbourg Blanc, it's such a beloved beer by a lot of young people, I think all ages. It's so funny to think of Danish beer aisles these days. Wow, that sounded really boring. But if you, as me, grew up with beer aisles in supermarkets, like from this brewery, you would see their Carlsberg, their Tuborg, their Classic, maybe their Porter or something like that. There was not anything that was really marketed to young people. And then all of a sudden that came along, but that was with like Alco Pops. And a lot of these brands, you can see they're just taking a page out of the Alco Pop book and trying to be like, oh, we need to market to young people. It needs to be hip, cool, like use street art, and just like, it just feels like this old dude, like the meme, hello there, fellow kids. That's like what I think every single time when I see these big breweries try to be hip and modern. But this one is done a little bit more restrained. It's not trying hard to be cool. It's just a bit more easygoing. So this is Tuborg Sprød. I don't know if this is out in any other countries, but it means Tuborg Crisp. And the attempt at making this is making a cold filtered Pilsner. And why I'm doing this is because almost all beers, if they're filtered, are filtered cold. It's just fucking marketing bullshit. So yeah, it's a version of Tuborg that's less bitter, basically, and more crisp. Supposedly also aromatic and flavorful. It's 4.2% alcohol, and then one of the big things on this label is also they market calories. It says 93 calories per can. So I'm thinking this could also be an attempt at getting into like morphing the light lager, marketing of the States with the Danish Pilsner marketing. I'm not entirely sure about it, but like putting the calories on the label on the front, you're definitely trying to signify that it's better for you to drink this than the other thing if you're thinking about calorie consumption. But we're ultimately talking, 7 to 10 calories less per can. Like, who fucking cares? Like, what is that little amount? So, yeah, it's a cold filtered Pilsner. And listen to this. So, the regular Tuborg is barley malt, hops, water, yeast. This version is water, barley malt, glucose syrup, barley, hop oils, and hops. So this is even more loading up with stupid shit. Although I'd say hop oils, you can't fault a lot of these ingredients 100%. It depends on what the ingredient is as well. Glucose syrup maybe is like I don't know about that. But you can get barley malt extracts that if it's in a low threshold, you will not notice. And hop oils. There are actually some very cool experimental hop products out these days. Some of them are oil derivative. Some of them are extracts. I don't know. Yeah, well, I guess all of them are really most of them are oil based. Some of them are also alcohol based. It depends on the different producer, but some of them actually work really well, and I've used a lot of them. Like the Sub-Zero Hop Key from Freestyle is amazing, and what Yakima does these days. So you can't also be completely iffy about it. But when you see it from a macro brewery, where they don't pride themselves with saying Mosaic Dynaboost or whatever on the can, it's like, it just says hop oils. Why are they using hop oils? Like, then the alarm bells ring a bit, because that means maybe they're trying to save a bit of money, or it's part of the process of trying to make this beer less bitter. Because in their marketing material, they say that the reason why this beer is less bitter than the regular Tuborg is because it's cold filtered. So because you filter your beer cold, the bitterness disappears. That sounds like bullshit. That sounds like more marketing bullshit. Like, all filtration of there's hot filtration before the beer is fermented, but all beer is, if it's filtered cold. Like, it's just bullshit. Like, it's marketing. And people, cold filter. People who don't know anything, they're fancy. You can hear I'm ready to hate this. Let's see. They talk about how it's also more fruity and flavorful. Like, what do they call it? Floral and crisp. They talk about crisp a lot. Struggle in color. Fine aromas of fruit and flowers and corn or barley. And it's a unique cold filtration technology. But it could be a new filtration technology they're doing and working with. But it doesn't make sense. Like, you say you use cold filtration to make the beer less bitter. What does that mean? Does that mean you're just it just makes sense? Like, you can tune in the bitterness before even having to think of filtration. I don't know. Let's just try the beer. I can keep on rambling. Very pale stuff. This does look like American light lagers, and this is really fresh. It's like only 2 months in the can. They also have very fancy, modern-looking bottles that are clear on this stuff. But I didn't see any bottles. I just saw the can here. But yeah, it looks very much like an American pale lager. It's very, very, very pale, very clear. Some good head retention, though. I'll give it that. Let's check out the aroma on Tuborg Sprød. This must be an attempt at making light lager. There's next to no aroma to this. It smells a lot like beer-flavored water. I can see there is some weird fruitiness there. It smells like beer with water, really. It smells like diluted lager. A couple of brands of light lager I have a bit of an affinity for. I actually really like craft brewed light lagers, where you just go nuts with hops or make them a bit different. They can be quite nice. But this just smells like so stripped of soul. It's so hard to define much. Everything is so light and gentle. Let's try Tuborg Sprød or crisp. Cheers. We got a light lager. Holy shit. This is so fucking watery. 100% an attempt at making American light lager in Denmark. 100%. They've tried it before and failed. Now they're doing it again with a fucking different name. There's been so many weird off-brands from Carlsberg that's failed, and they keep wanting to push these things. And what people drink most of the time is just Carlsberg and Tuborg, or Tuborg Classic. There's been a couple of successes, though. I mentioned that already, but still. It's not off-flavored or anything. But this is fucking shit. This is... Holy shit. it just tastes like beer flavored water. I would say this would be fun if you want to. The use of this. What's the use? This is get smashed, I guess. Like, why would you even mix? Like, if you don't like beer, why would you drink a beer that tastes like watered down beer? Like, oh yeah, then maybe I like beer. Drink something fucking fruity instead. Drink fruit beers. Like if you don't like the flavor of beer, quote unquote beer, lager, then I don't think this will convince you. But I also think some of the American light lagers I've had actually have a bit more character than this. I could see myself smashing the shit out of this though. Like if it was for a 4th of July style party and this was the beer of choice because it's similar to light lagers, I would smash the shit out of it and have fun and barbecue one and just don't think about it and kick back. I would actually drink this. I would if I was offered it. But it's not great beer at all. It's just a Danish interpretation. And I had to do this. We need to compare. So I also picked up a can of regular Tuborg, which is, I did a blind tasting of Tuborg and Carlsberg. It turns out this was my favorite of the two. Although I always thought it was Carlsberg. But this is the classic in a can. It's pretty much the same age. I just wanted to compare and see the difference. The big difference is this is 4.6, 4.2. And then the calories, this has got more calories. This one has 28 calories per 100 mils, and this has 37. And that's probably due to how dry the beer is. So this is probably drier, and then lower amount of alcohol. But I thought this was appropriate because I want to see how different they are. I mean, this is actually yellow. It almost looks screaming yellow in comparison to the crisp. I mean, yeah, it's still also really pale, but like there's definitely a few shades paler. This is gonna be interesting. Tuborg next to Sprød. And one thing, if you noticed, I don't think if that's the case in outside of Denmark, but Tuborg everywhere, like in Denmark, they market a lot that it says green. Grøn. It's the nickname. Grøn Tuborg. It's always been the nickname for it here. Carlsberg's nickname is Hof in Denmark. It's got a lot more going on than this. Like this almost doesn't smell like anything right now, but there is something weird about it. This must be the hop oil. They're using some kind of floral hop oil or something. There is something that's a little bit fruity about it. But this almost smells like robust and rustic in comparison. And this is Tuborg. There's some fluffy maltiness, a bit of rustic maltiness, a bit of grassy hops, but it definitely smells better. Let's try it. Cheers. There's no fucking comparison here. This is a miles better beer. This is actually a decent macro beer. Wow. It pretty much tastes a little bit like you poured water into fucking Tuborg. I think it's also because beer sales are going down and like some of these big breweries are like, oh shit, the young people want cocktails and they want things that are light and they think about calories and they think about this and that. And they like, in the States, they like seltzers and light beers. Light beers are getting really popular again. Germany, Helles Lager is getting really popular again. And then you make something like this. But I wonder if this is something that the Danish market will love. The Danish market is not a market for light lagers. And at least, unless it's craft stuff, maybe. But like, every time there's been an American light lager introduced to the Danish market, or an interpretation of a light lager, it's lasted like 6 months and it's gone. Like, Coors Light was here for like super brief. I think it was half a year. It was gone. PBR was here, although that's maybe not super light lagery. That was here for maybe also, that was longer, maybe 2-3 years actually. That was for a longer time, but Coors Light was really short. Out the wazoo. And they've done it themselves. They tested these lighter beers and like they've never been big successes. I would smash a few cans. It was offered to me. Would I buy it again? No. Would I buy this? Yes. if I was at a bar and this was all they had, I would be happy to drink a Tuborg. It's not a bad beer. It's not the best lager in the world, but I think I will stand by my original grade of around 70 to 75. For an industrial Pilsner, this is miles ahead of most other macro beers. Like, it is. It's not amazing, but it is really miles ahead of a lot of, like, especially European pale lagers. I've reviewed a lot of macro beers over the years on the channel, and I actually do think the Danish ones are some of the better ones, especially Tuborg. So, yeah, I think I'll stick to my guns with that. But the main culprit, the crisp Tuborg. It's definitely better than their citrus beer, and I don't think it's completely flunked and off. It's just like a bit of a whatever thing. Like, I don't think it will last long, this one, either. But maybe like a 60 just passed. It's all right. It's okay. You can drink it. But if you're a lover of light lager, I think you would really dig this because it has all the similarities to American light lagers. So yeah, that's it. Fun to try, fun to compare. I mean, this just looking here like this. This just looks like rich compared to this, just because the color is more yellow. But yeah, fun stuff. So if you guys had a chance to try the new Tuborg Sprød, let me know what you thought of it. I'm happy to have tried it, and yeah. If you like Tuborg, drink that instead. As always, leave a comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And I want to say cheers in Tuborg instead, and see you guys in another beer review.